the Pro Bowl selection, we have 7 Pro Bowlers. And first and foremost, salute to Brandon Aubrey. This is his first Pro Bowl, and I'm looking at it from the mindset that this kicker, he's automatic. He can hit from anywhere on the field once he get to the 50. This is the dynamic opportunity for him to showcase his talent on the Pro Bowl level, but we all know that in actuality, it's not about Pro Bowl. It's all about trying to motivate these guys to get to a higher standard. The higher standard would be Super Bowl. And Jimmy Johnson would utilize his mindset using reverse psychology and say, hey, the guys that didn't make the Pro Bowl, look at how you are looked upon. Look at how you're viewed upon. So Jimmy Johnson would flip this and use this as motivation.
How about them Cowboys?
The second guy on this list, we're working it from the bottom. The second guy on this list is my guy, Bryan Anger. He is similar to Brandon Aubrey, but he's the punt kicker, and it's really hard to find any faults in his game outside that. We wish he cough corner it a little bit more. But outside of that, man, he made 2 Pro Bowl selections in his career, and he's having a phenomenal year this year, and salute to him being selected. DaRon Bland, his first Pro Bowl selection ever. And when you think of DaRon Bland, when he's out there and he's determined, he covered every blade of grass perfectly. He come down and hit and field. And I'm looking at what this kid is able to do in his second year. Kudos and credence to that man's career. And I see nothing but possibilities of him scaling and growing. Even though in his second year, he had a lot of food on the table. One can argue that, he stood tall in his role. He S.O.B. stand on business with all of that, man. So continue to do your thing. Micah Parsons, his 3rd Pro Bowl selection ever, right? And I think that every year he been in the league, that's all he know is Pro Bowl. He is a Pro Bowler. Salute to him as a linebacker. And when you think of it, he's one of the starters too. Parsons is him. And the Lion is always hungry, averaging about 13 to 14 sacks a year. That ain't nothing to sneeze at, ladies and gentlemen. So when you think of Parsons, think of Pro Bowler, think of All-Pro, think of a dude that's can cover every blade of grass himself. He can play on the edge. He can play at that linebacker spot. Salute to him. And also with his 3rd Pro Bowl selection, CeeDee Lamb. Oh, my goodness, man. Salute to that brother right there with his 3rd Pro Bowl selection. One can argue when CeeDee Lamb is on the field, where you can put him? Inside the slot. You can put him at the X spot. You can put him at the Y or Z. You can put him at fullback, halfback, any place on the field. You can put him at that spot, and he will work the field. Well, maybe you have to worry about fullback, but, you get what I'm saying. CeeDee Lamb, that's what his name really means, by the way, y'all.
He ain't lying.
Zack Martin with his 9th selection, going to the Pro Bowl, the beast. The guy that when you look at it and you think about it, you will say to yourself, hey, this dude right here, his ability to be that staple piece for the Cowboys and being able to be that boss on the line at guard. You can hold up your hand one time, and that's how many holding penalties he had in his whole entire career. He's just that phenomenal. He got more Pro Bowlers than he have holding calls or any penalties, I believe, if you add them all together. Somebody can fact check me on that one. But Zack Martin is him. And last but not least, Dak Prescott, his 3rd Pro Bowl selection. Keep in mind, he did turn down one of those Pro Bowl selections too. But I'll always look at it like this. Utilize and use this as motivation. Don't pay too much attention to Pro Bowl. I would say this. Let's not get bogged down into Pro Bowls. I'm even going to look at this. I don't even like the Pro Bowl alternates. And I think that the NFL, to me, subtly denigrated the whole selection processing of having the Pro Bowl before the Super Bowl. I like it better when the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl, where you can get a chance to see everybody that goes to the Pro Bowl play. But that's a whole nother situation here. figure out a way, Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn, to motivate the guys that didn't make this list to play even harder, like your DeMarcus Lawrences of the world, like your Stephon Gilmores, who should be in the Pro Bowl, as well as, like I said, with D-Law. Figure out ways to motivate these guys from within. And even when you look at the kick return guy last year, Kevontae Turpin, to me, Turpin been a little conservative with his approach this year, but he's been utilized more. But we want Turpin to really turn up a little bit more in games, so maybe you can utilize and use that as motivation and find that weak spot on your team and see whether or not this can push them to the top and have these boys playing unbelievable down the stretch. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to see none of these guys in the Pro Bowl. Ain't that right?
You ain't lying.
We want to see these guys in the what? Super Bowl. And you got to find ways to find motivation. And not saying that these boys are not motivated, but I'm feeling a situation where these guys could use this as a tool to motivate and push each other. Salute to Dak Prescott, Zack Martin, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, DaRon Bland, Bryan Anger, and as well as Butter, as they call him, Brandon Aubrey. But we got to still push this, to get these guys motivated. Post me your thoughts, post me your concerns, and let me know who's been left out of this list that's supposed to be on this list. Maybe a Tyler Smith if they weren't hating on him. Maybe it's somebody else, we can point out and say, hey, put this man in the Pro Bowl list. But we still, at the end of the day, we want to see these guys in the Super Bowl. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Go Cowboys.